to yet another tourism webinar. We're in May 29th, 2022. And at tourism webinars, sometimes the topics are hard-hitting topics, and sometimes we like to just shine a light, a spotlight on a certain place and feature it. So we're doing the latter today. We're going to be having a look at Papua New Guinea. And that's a name that we've all heard of, but perhaps not a lot of us understand what is there. And it's actually a pretty good time for them to be introducing tourism in this post-pandemic time of our lives, when a lot of places are coming out of an over-tourism situation and other places are reinventing themselves. Papua New Guinea is essentially inventing themselves for the sake of tourism. Now, I'm Bea Broda. I am a talk show host, a travel show host, and I'm based currently in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it is 6 in the morning for me, but we have people from all around the world in different time zones. Tourismwebinar.com is where all of these webinars are placed. So we welcome you if you're joining us on Zoom or on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or wherever you're joining us. I'd like you to know that you can find this webinar and all of the others on tourismwebinar.com. And when you go there, you can also find the contact information of all of the expert speakers that we've had over the months, as well as incredible PowerPoint presentations and videos that are quite cutting edge. So welcome to you all on this beautiful, beautiful day. We'll be hearing from people from Papua New Guinea, which is going to be quite fascinating. It's a place I've been near, but not quite to, and I'm looking forward to doing so. We've got some academics here from the country. We've got the president of SCAL International, which is quite exciting to hear words from her. But for now, one of the best ways to show a little bit about a country and give a taste is to present a video. And we do have a small video. And Reza, I wonder if you could run it now. It's a video, just a short one, about Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
I'm not sure we heard much of that, but the scenery was absolutely spectacular. And one thing I know from having done a little research on the country this week is that it's absolutely blessed with its topography. There are mountains, waterfalls, rainforests. It's just gorgeous. There's coral reefs and beaches, and an incredible amount of tribal diversity, which I find fascinating. And I think that most people are just in for that new experience of discovering other cultures. And they certainly have it richly in spades in Papua New Guinea. Before we actually begin, I'd like to thank Reza Sultani for organizing this webinar, as he's organized all of the others. And I would also like to acknowledge that Dr. Talib Rifai is here, and he was the Secretary General of the UNWTO, and he has been faithfully attending all of these webinars. So, and welcome to everybody here. So, we have a number of people that are coming along shortly, but first of all, we have the pleasure of having the president of SCAL International with us. So we're going to give the floor over to Mrs. Burson Turkan to discuss this whole topic of Papua New Guinea.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to be addressing you all at this webinar. Thank you for having me. The video was fascinating. The natural resources that Papua New Guinea has is amazing. Today, I'm joining you as the World President of SCAL International, but some of you may wonder what is SCAL, so I'd like to give you some information about what SCAL is. A SCAL International movement began in 1932 with the founding of the first club of Paris, promoted by friendship arising between a group of Parisian travel agents. They were invited by several transport companies to the presentation of a new aircraft destined for the Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and Malmo flight. Then the association was founded in 1934, and SCAL International is actually the only professional organization promoting global tourism and friendship while uniting all sectors of the tourism industry. SCAL has existed for 9 decades now, and our first club, SCAL Paris, is celebrating their 90th anniversary in July 2022. So it is more than 12,500 members that we have around the globe, entailing industries, managers, and executives who meet.
Individual members? Individual members.
Correct. We have about 12,500 individual members. And they are executives, and they meet locally, nationally, regionally, and internationally. And the goal is to do business among friends throughout 317 chapters we have in over 90 countries. And SCAL has some enduring partnerships and affiliations with several like-minded organizations that help drive global change and cooperate closely on matters of mutual interest to achieve common objectives. So some of the organizations that we work closely are UN, WTO, World Travel and Tourism Council, ECPAT, the Code, Pacific Asia Travel Association, International Institute for Peace Through Tourism, Sustainable Travel International. In Papua New Guinea, we have the SCAL International Port Moresby chapter, which was established in 1975. It's the same year as Papua New Guinea gained their independence. And the chapter has representation of various branches and segments of the tourism and travel and hospitality industry. The club and its members collaborated to establish the Tourism Industry Association in Papua New Guinea, a peak body industry representative. And the club meets regularly to allow professionals to network with like-minded individuals keen to promote and expand the industry in Papua New Guinea and the region. And members of the club actively participate in community initiatives, particularly during difficult COVID periods. They assisted communities, families that were impacted by the heavy unemployment in the industry. And COVID restrictions made it quite difficult for the club to meet regularly, obviously, because of the lockdowns. But currently, they are starting to meet again in person. Now, the club is focused on reopening and rebuilding and increasing its membership. So at SCAL International, the key principles are doing business among friends while connecting tourism globally. As a SCAL member, as I said, we have 12,500 members. So I have over 12,000 friends and potential partners that I could approach to do business. And this is pretty exciting. So I also would like to talk about the recent challenges that we're all experiencing. I don't know how much time I have. Would you like me to proceed a little bit further?
Sure.
And connect, yeah.
10 minutes.
Right. So, well, the past 2 years have been really hard on us due to the pandemic, and the travel and tourism industry has been hit the hardest among all industries. And the pandemic has changed and continues to change many balances in how we operate and do business. So right after the pandemic, as we all know, our industry is now facing difficulties due to the armed conflicts, due to the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Currently, SCAL International is working hard to show solidarity and support our clubs on the border of Ukraine with some humanitarian support, and they're offering this to hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian refugees crossing the borders in Europe. And Scala International is a nonprofit professional organization promoting global tourism and friendship, uniting all sectors of the tourism industry without the influence of political issues, is against any form of aggression, endangering the people's freedom and human rights, and condemning the aggression. We have recently started seeing now about some change management just following after the pandemic. It's the terms change management, future work, re-engineering is flowing after the pandemic. So all these are discussed due to the changes we've seen because of the pandemic. And as I said, how we do business has changed, and it will possibly change further. So talking about change, we all know change is not a force to be feared, but rather an opportunity to be seized. So it's an event, but transition through this change is an intentional process. So one is normally most creative through a transition period. So this post-pandemic time is the ideal time to reassess every aspect of our personal and business life. And we all know the success of the travel and tourism industry is based on social, economical, political, and technological changes and events. Natural disasters, terror attacks, act of war, the safety of transportation, of course, the pandemic. But there are two more very important challenges that the world and our organization, as well as many others, will face as they will be changing the way we look for our organization, how we look at membership and reestablish our connections. It's the new generation Z and the industry 0.40. Who are the generation Z and what are their expectations? And how can we embrace their leadership qualities for the future? Well, Gen Z, they are natives of the digital age. 80% of this group aspire to work with cutting edge technology. 52% of this group have technological skills that employers require. They have social and environmental awareness. They are pragmatic and realistic, and they're the perfect mix between millennium attitudes and a Generation X rationality. And they're adaptable, resilient, creative, self-thought, and they work on what they are passionate about. And what is Industry 4.0, or as they call it, Fourth Industrial Revolution? It's an emergent power of computers to think with no human intervention, where the workplace is fully automated. And what drives the 4.0 industry, it's the lower costs basically, and allows a global and expensive reach for their products. So, but you know, with this, unemployment is the biggest challenge that this era will have with the introduction of Industry 4.0. But humans will always create and live a meaningful life, irrespective of the technological advances. So this era will introduce new workplaces in the primary economy that will be mostly related to IT. But good news for hospitality industry is that this sector will fall into functional enablers portion, as technology cannot replace a certain career's job in the world of hospitality and travel industry, as we all still need a personal human touch. The other good news is that there will be an exponential rise in entrepreneurship and self-employment, which will directly impact the travel and tourism industry. So how is Scala International addressing this change that's coming? Well, we understand that acceptance precedes change, and our first step in the cycle of change is acceptance that moving from the past is necessary. The first step to align my presidential vision was to incorporate the incredible talents and minds of members into different work committees. This would not only add value to our offerings, but also create excitement, encourage teamwork among our members, while allowing them to be a part of our organization's decision-making process. As you know, when people's talents are recognized, it immediately ignites the creative minds and spreads positivity to all, which naturally encourages many new projects. Our partnership with PR Newswire and eTurbo News has meant that Skal International is in the global news daily. All social media platforms have been showcasing our achievements, our collaboration with other organizations, and our travel expert reviews on relevant subjects. Of course, the consistent visibility of Skal on these channels not only allows us universal exposure, but also sparks a sense of fascination among travel colleagues as why they're not members of Skal International yet, and that's what we're looking for. Now, to further expand on Skal's agenda, it is simply focused on how we assist our members, their businesses and careers to become more successful while strengthening the travel industry overall. Everything we do is focused on these outcomes. Our appointment this year of international committees to achieve these goals should be a special interest of Papua New Guinea because their output can help your country. One committee in particular is preparing materials and developing relationships which any country affiliated with Skal International can use. The Advocacy and Global Partnerships Committee is developing resources and toolkits to address post-pandemic tourism success, contributing to all elements of tourism sustainability, reducing or eliminating juvenile sexual trafficking in tourism, and how to work together as a global industry. I have already seen its sustainability toolkit, and which provides information to develop sustainability champions who will be leaders preserving and renewing the kind of cultural and historical resources found in Papua New Guinea, as well as proper use of natural assets, food and water, and all while being climate sensitive. So we would love to have more colleagues in Papua New Guinea to help you even more successful as part of our dynamic global organization. So if you would like to have more information, I'm available today at this webinar, as well as I'll be glad to answer any questions, but you can also email me. I will write my email address on the chat box. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I love that term, colleagues. That's great. So what kind of person can join? Who are you looking for at this point? A hotelier? Let us know some of your...
We host over, we have 40 categories. Basically, it's open to all branches of tourism and travel industry, professionals who are mainly our members are decision-making roles, but our membership is open for managers at any level within the industry. And it does, we are, as I said, we do have a club in Papua New Guinea, but there are 317 chapters. So we are around the globe in major cities. It does allow to do business. So it would be a great opportunity. Those who are in Papua New Guinea looking for international tourism connections to promote the country. Our organization is a great place to be at.
That's great. And many organizations today have been concentrating on DEIA, the diversity, equality, inclusion, and accessibility. Is that something that is a focus of your group as well?
Absolutely, it is. And we do have certain committees, as I mentioned this year. We have initiated 8 committees. And again, it is a priority of the Advocacy and Global Partnerships Committee to focus on this topic. So we do have great minds. We do have, as I said, over 12,000 members. And we have created an environment where we are open to discuss any important topic that is important for our members and the industry globally.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
On the similar topic of hospitality, we're going to go to Professor Dimitrios Bouhalis now. He's a strategic management and marketing expert who specializes in information communication technology, smart environments, and interactive marketing. And he's currently the visiting professor at the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. So let's welcome Professor Dimitrios Bouhalis.
Thank you very much, Bev. Fantastic to be with you and contribute to the seminar, and also great to see good friends Taleb, Mario, and many others on this call. Let me share my screen so I can go quickly through a few slides so you can see the research that we've been doing in the last few years and how this is coming forward. I hope that you can see my slides. Yes. And you see basically the three things I've been doing is the Journal of Tourism Review, which I'm editing, the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing, which is going to come out this summer. We've been working on it for the last 2 years, and this is a 2 million words project that will include 1,250 different terms contributed by 1,500 people from around the world. And the last thing is the book on gamification for tourism. Now, everybody knows that tourism in the last 2 or 3 years has suffered dramatically depending on where you are. And of course, we've now understood how critical tourism is for the entire world. And you've seen all the statistics and what has been happening. But I think we really need to start looking forward to what I call the Vision 2030 and see how smartness can actually support us to go to the next stage. I think the next stage will need to have smart and agile tourism and will be based on resilience. Now, I think it's really critical also for people to start realizing that we are not going back to 2019, but we're going to go forward. So a lot of people who are looking backward will need to adjust their vision to learn from what we've learned in this period and see how we can go forward to the next stage. I think one of the critical things is to look into the end of planning. We used to have very long terms and periods of planning where people will progressively go through a range of different processes and actually create very fixed processes in order to manage tourism. I think what we see is that the beginning of agility, the beginning of an era where you can adjust everything very quickly. And I'm currently in Hong Kong, and in Hong Kong, a lot of the developments were happening very quickly, and the government had to change everything within 1 week and to adapt to the new conditions. And I think a lot of people must learn out of this process on how we can take advantage of smartness to actually develop our agility and our ability to work with real-time data. Of course, the Sustainable Development Goals are still here, and if there is anything that COVID has left behind, is the fact that now we understand how important tourism is for communities all over the world, and also for consumers all over the world. I've never seen so many prime ministers and heads of state dealing with tourism ever in my life. And all of a sudden, tourism became on top of the agenda and on top of the discussion. And I think a lot of people will be looking into tourism to the recovery towards 2030. I've developed this vision for Tourism 2030, which creating tourism that's anthropocentric. So we are focusing on humans, and it's agile as well. So in order to do that, we need to focus on the customer experience. We need to have digital ecosystems. We need sustainable development, and we need industry competitiveness. And there are many different ways of doing that, but I cannot do that within 10 minutes, but you'll find that in the encyclopedia. So intelligence, I think, is going to be central to everything that we do. And in order to do that, we need to inspire all the stakeholders that you can see around on the big circle to innovate and create innovative and international solutions that they bring everything together, all the stakeholders together on the co-creation of value for everybody who is in the ecosystem. And this is the result, really. So the editor statement that they included on the beginning of the encyclopedia, where you see here you see here the tourism system, where we've got the travel generating region, the tourism destination region, the transit region. This is classic. But what we're saying is that we need to look after the resources that are coming into the system, and we need to make sure that the value that is co-created is equally shared by all the different stakeholders. To do that, there is a pyramid where the tourism system is actually based. And the pyramid includes planning, management, and strategy, market forces, exogenous variables, technology, and infrastructure. All of those things need to be coordinated if we are to do tourism well. I know it's quite a lot. It's a busy slide. It's coming. It's the summary of 2 million words in one picture. And I would welcome you to read the 20 pages that explain that in one of these links that introduce the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. I think we're blessed that a lot of our assets are still there, and I think we're very blessed that a lot of people would like to co-create experience by looking into authentic travel experience and differentiation. But one of the things that came very, very strong during this period and when we are opening again is the importance of human resources. We see all over the place a lot of organizations unable to recruit human resources in order to deliver those experiences. And we find that in universities, that's really, really critical, that we prepare our young generations and the talent to go forward. Now, smartness will need to bring the interconnectivity and interoperability of all the integrated technologies in order to manage all these things. And in doing that, what we have is a range of technologies that are around humans, from the end of things, the end of everything, 5G, RFID, mobile devices, applications, cryptocurrency and blockchain, sensors and beacons, pervasive computing, gamification, artificial intelligence and machine learning. All of those things are coming together in order to serve consumers and all the different stakeholders by integrating the ecosystem. And this is the latest research we've done about real-time response and resilience. And again, I'm sorry academics write complicated texts and difficult frameworks because we need to have a holistic approach on how those things happening. But what you need to be looking at is here. It's basically nowness. How can we integrate all the data and all the information that's coming together to support decision-making at the destinations in order to make real-time decisions, and especially in a volatile environment that's changing all the time? To make it simple is how can the Hong Kong government, how can the Spanish government make decisions about what they are doing, where they're developing, which markets they're opening, and how they operate in all this very volatile environment. And here you've got smart systems that they need interoperable intelligence and interconnected systems where you bring different data that is currently hosted in different silos to operate together. Again, this is a research that we've been doing for the last 2 years, and you'll see the publication there. And the last thing I'm going to say is that robots are coming, and robots are going to take a lot of activities that humans do not want to take. And eventually we're going to look into smart and agile co-creation of knowledge by bringing anthropocentric and value-focused co-creation of tourism activities, by developing empathy and community engaged, by developing innovation and inspiration, by bringing all this technology to create connectivity and agility in real time. And I'll leave it with that. I know I packed everything in 10 minutes or so, but here's my contact details if you would like to find more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bohalis. I hope there isn't a multiple choice test at the end of this. That was a lot of information, a lot that went into that. My goodness, that tourism can benefit from all of those studies. And then I'd just like to remind viewers that all of that can be found on the tourism webinar website under Dr. Bohalis's contact information. So you can look further, because some of those charts looked like a lot of research went into them. And I think that any country can certainly benefit in their tourism department by having a look at that. So thank you so much for sharing that information. Now, before we get on with our showcase of Papua New Guinea, we'll hear from many of the reps from there a little bit later on. But now we're going to hear from Dr. Mario Hardy, who is the Managing Director of Private Family Office MAP2 Ventures. It's an impact investment fund focusing on sustainable development, an envoy at the Saudi Arabia-based Sustainability Tourism Global Center with the mission to decarbonize the tourism sector. He's also a global peace ambassador by IIPT, the International Institute of Peace and Tourism, as am I. So I am happy to give Dr. Mario Hardy the floor.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me correctly?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Just wanted to make sure we're well connected. It's fantastic to be right after Dimitrios, because him and I have been speaking on stages together for so many years, and we somehow always find a way to complement each other in terms of our presentations. I'm going to talk about sustainability, of course. That is my main focus these days, and there is relevance to P&G in so many ways, especially when we talk about ESG, environmental, social, and governance, and especially the middle part, the social part, the social economic impact, which is greatly needed in P&G. I had the pleasure of visiting P&G many years ago, a very short visit, sadly, but I hope that we can go back one day. We'll start by talking something that actually follows really well with what Dimitrios has mentioned before, the need to be agile. And why is that? And I'll give you a quote that I picked up from McKinsey recently, which I think is really relevant for the current situation. So, the massive social and economic disruptions caused by the recent pandemic should serve as a wake-up call. That's the critical word here, wake-up call, to anyone who finds a false sense of security, instability, and predictability. The pandemic highlighted that in the 21st century, change happens at an incredible speed, often unpredictable, and can be crucially transformative. And this is where I think we really need to focus on the words of Dimitrios before about the need to be agile and to adapt to fast-changing situation. For the decade I worked in tourism, I've heard Dr. Rifai, myself, and many others on stage talking about the fabulous growth that we received from tourism for 10 years, consistently every year, in man's growth in the tourism sector. But all of us at one point in our career have mentioned how fragile it is and how unsustainable this growth was in the long term. And what we've been experiencing over the last 2-3 years has certainly revealed this. But this is only one out of many other threats that are actually affecting us moving forward, potentially may affect us in the future. Further pandemics, of course, the effects of climate change, which are quite significant, it would impact P&G, increased inequality and divide, which I'll know we were experiencing in many places, including P&G. And then 1 billion people are still hungry today, every single day. 1.4 billion people live on less than $1.25 per day. That creates immense challenges for us moving forward. How are we going to feed this growing population that we have? The threat of urban development. Today, 55% of all people live in cities. By 2050, it is expected to reach 70%. Urban residents already account for 70% of the global carbon emissions. In 2030, which is just 8 years from now, 2030, the demand for water will grow by 30% and food and energy by 50%. Already in the province where I live in Thailand, we already suffer from shortage of water at different times of the year. And there are technological solutions today to solve this problem. They're here, they're available to us, but we need help to scale them. We need finances to help scale those on a global basis, and especially in countries such as P&G, who needs our help in order to implement and scale these solutions. Now, water can be produced by simply converting humidity into drinkable water. In my house, I use an atmospheric water generator that can produce 30 liters of water by converting the 80 to 90% humidity we have every day. Mm-hmm. That in itself would actually produce enough water for a family. It's just my wife and I, but we have a surplus of water that we produce on a daily basis by using technology that exists already today. I mentioned about ESG. Now, many of you will be familiar, some of you may not be familiar with this term. Environmental, social, and governance is a term that is used in the finance world and has been used actually for the past couple of years and getting more attention in the past, say, 24 months or the last 2 years specifically. Impact investment funds, such as myself, the one that I manage, my family manage, and others, are focused specifically on, yes, we want to invest in businesses that will make a profit. That's still critical. If they don't make a profit, they will not be sustainable, they will not be around, and they will not deliver on their promises. So it is still critical and it's still number one. But second is looking, what impact do they have on the environment? What impact do they have on their socially, on the local communities? If you're an hotel, for example, are you buying your products locally in your own community? And if you're not, why not? Why do you need to import avocados from New Zealand when they're produced just next door across the street and are equally good? Or alternative food and resources that are available locally. Governance. We have many issues in part of Asia and other parts of the world where corruption is still around very, very much. And we need to find ways to solve these. Because if you don't, it's nearly impossible for you to get investment from overseas, foreign investment into your destination, if you can't solve the corruption issues. It's too risky for businesses. So why does sustainability matter so much? Well, what happened over the last 2 years is amplified something that was already there before. The interest of millennials, of young people, and I say young people of all ages, including Talad and I, is in actually purchasing and looking for sources of services and destinations that are actually showcasing their sustainability credentials. They're actually showcasing how are they contributing positively to the environment, socially, and also in good governance. It is a well-known fact that actually people will buy, young people and people of all ages now, will also be purchasing something that actually shows these credentials, but they have to be real. The greenwashing stories, those are over. People are now actually looking into the details and finding out, if you're saying you're planting trees because I'm coming to your destination to decarbonize, I want to see those trees. And how many are you planting? And where are you planting them? Are they trees that are good for this particular region, mangrove, for example, which we know are very good? Are they suitable for that? People are asking questions that they were not asking before. So it's really critical that we pay attention to those. Here's another thing also, which is important, especially for millennials today. When they're looking for a job, they will take jobs that are actually with organizations that have good ESG credentials, that are actually showcasing their sustainability too. If they're not, they will skip to another job. They will go elsewhere. And we all know today specifically, as Professor Dimitrios mentioned, and also President of SCOL mentioned before, that the industry have huge challenges because many people working in the sectors have left. They have left for other industries. And many of them do not want to return to tourism at the moment because they see too much risk. It's been too unstable over the last 2 years. And they find it really challenging. It's really challenging for businesses in hospitality, especially here where I live in Thailand, to recruit staff now, to retain them, to keep them with you. And if on top of that, you're not showcasing how you're making the planet better, you're making the communities better, then they will go elsewhere. My children are the age where they're actually looking for jobs at the moment. They have graduated and they have refused jobs with organizations that are actually, they believe, were not sustainable. It's also important because governments are also now paying attention. They have to, because of the influence from all of these people around the world, young people of all ages, who are now saying that actually sustainability is potential. Climate change is here, it's real, we see it, we experience it. Countries like PNG are experiencing it. And if the governments are not supporting it, if businesses are not showcasing their support for sustainability, governments will not support them also moving forward. If they're looking for subsidies, if they're looking for tax break, they will not get them if they don't actually implement ESG credentials and being sustainable. So you see, it actually touches everybody on your employment, on your what you're purchasing, on your jobs, in your daily life, in so many other ways. So what are the sustainability concerns in Portuguese in tourism? And I'm getting to the end of it. Economic impact, reduce inequality and divide, fair employment, energy, water, transport, great infrastructure, local food production and sourcing. Very, very important, very critical. And last and not least, waste management, which is also critical. All of those actually touches travel and tourism. In conclusion, I'd like to actually just quote something from the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, which is SDG number 17, which is, in my opinion, probably one of the most critical ones. 17 is actually about partnership. So the global goals can only be met if we work together. International investments and support is needed to ensure innovative technological developments, fair trade and market access, especially for developing countries. To build a better world, we need to be supportive, empathetic, inventive, passionate, and above all, cooperative, work together in partnership. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great pleasure to be with you, and I hope you took some great insights from what I had to share with you. And if not, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I also like to mention in conclusion a message also for P&G. If you're interested and you want to reach out to me separately, I am also currently working on a project specifically to help indigenous communities around the world to enable them to build more economic growth and to develop new sources of income from them, directly from tourism or actually not from tourism also. So currently I have projects in Panama and Peru, Argentina, soon hopefully Thailand in the coming autumn. And so thank you very much again.
Dr. Mario Hardy, thank you so much. What you say gives me a great deal of hope that people are demanding certain aspects of sustainability. So that means that at least in the tourism sector, the impacts of climate change are being recognized as being something real, and some real steps are being taken, not just as you say, the greenwashing. I can remember attending a conference of Peace Through Tourism. I think it was in Mauritius, good handful of years ago, and there were people from 40 different countries addressing climate change and how nobody was really doing anything, and we were actually possibly past the tipping point. So I'm very happy to hear that some of these things are in place. And the only thing I'm worried about now is how do you get all these people back in the industry? People are so short-staffed now. Nobody wants the jobs. So I guess it's a matter of making the jobs appealing again and offering fair wages. So now with Papua New Guinea, I guess the only thing is that it's a long-haul flight and it's going to take gas to get there from most places. So that'll be an interesting thing to talk about too. And we have a rep of Papua New Guinea with us now. We have a few, but we're going to start with Joel Camelo, and I hope I pronounced that somewhat correctly, who's the Senior Marketing Officer of Papua New Guinea. Welcome, Mr. Camelo.
Hi, he's here. I just talked to him and also to the minister because they are in the elections time and they are in the remote villages. So they have internet connections, including him. But
Okay,
he was
Daniel.
so maybe we leave to Daniel to speak till they get the better connections because they are not in the capital, they told me. So, yeah.
Who are you suggesting next then?
Daniel Wakra, can you unmute yourself?
Wakra. Mr. Wakra, are you with us? I remember he was having some issues before. Mr. Wakra, welcome.
Hi. You guys can hear me?
Yes. We're getting some feedback, though. You have more than one machine on?
I had very difficulty in connecting through, and my voice was not picked up.
Daniel, I wonder if I could suggest that you either go on your phone or your computer, but I think you might have both on, and so we're getting some feedback. Oh,
We lost them
my
altogether.
phone as well. So I'm going back off here anyway. I think you all can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone
No,
around the world.
turn up your
And
computer and you have your two devices on.
Yes, you've got two devices on, so we're hearing both.
They all have an internet connection in Papua New Guinea, and actually that's often we see with the developing countries, those things. So we
Perhaps
should
we will.
do our best to help more. And that's in fact the intention of this thing. So
Yes. Shall
okay,
we
then,
move along then?
again, you should turn off one of your devices. So
Daniel, can you hear me? Reza is suggesting turning off one of your two devices.
I think he has two devices on, yes.
Yes, me too. I'm not sure if he's hearing.
Okay. So maybe we can let, how about Jesse? Jesse, are you here? Okay, can you speak, please?
So what we can do is we can move along to our next speakers and possibly return to to Daniel in a bit. So Deborah Campanera and her husband, who's Jesse Leta, they have a wonderful company, Indigenous Kokoda Adventures. In Papua New Guinea, and it's the first wholly Indigenous, locally owned, led, and operated tour operator of the Kokoda Track. So she and her husband have been working together since the beginning of 2018, and they're bringing the Indigenous Kokoda Adventures to life to effect change along the track by providing better employment experience for the porters and guides that will ultimately help to disrupt the cycle of poverty that we heard about and that still exists. So we're going to hear, it's a tag team between Deborah and Jesse. So let's give them the floor. Who is going first?
First B. Just a slight correction. Jesse's my colleague. He's not my husband. I'm sure Jesse's wife wouldn't like that. But no, that's fair. And I'll just speak very briefly because I really would like Jesse to have this platform to speak. I was in Papua New Guinea in 2017 and was fortunate enough to complete the track along the Kokoda track. And it was extremely challenging, mentally, physically, everything. And I just wasn't really processing everything till I came home, arrived back in Vancouver. And I was just so taken and mentally moved by the poverty and the lack of resources, very little as far as medical facilities and schools only going up to grade 8 and not even in all villages. And the whole idea of having to get supplies into the villages was just a days long process that was just horrendous. And, we hop in our cars and drive to the grocery store and get what we need and go home. And it's all so easy. And nobody really thinks about how easy we have it and what a struggle it is for people in remote villages. Anyways, long story short, started working with Jesse in 2018 and Indigenous Kokoda Adventures came to life late 2019. Website was done and we did have a couple of tours arranged for 2020, but of course, we know what happened with that. So I'll give the floor to Jesse, and he can talk a little bit more about what we're doing to help and support the communities along the Kokoda track. Jesse.
Thank you, Deborah. Jesse Leta, are you with us?
Yes, Jesse.
see.
Jesse, are you here? Jesse, are you here? Can you unmute yourself? It's so difficult to get a connection with Papua New Guinea, it seems.
It seems that way. I don't see his name there though.
No, he's here.
Yeah.
He was here. His video was on, and now suddenly he's off. They have really unstable internet connections there.
Okay, well, we may have to wait on that one. So we have one other person from Papua New Guinea that could talk a little bit more about it, and that's Samson Sala, the president and founder of World Peace Festival in Papua New Guinea. He was awarded the Community Good Order Medal by Lutheran Church for helping community throughout the country. His support for women's rights made him receive a certificate called Hope for Sisters, and he is contributed to in community and government by advising and consulting. Mr. Samson Sala, I know you are here, so welcome to the webinar. Unless all of Papua New Guinea. Samson, can you hear me?
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, yes. Am I on now?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. We can.
All right. Good evening. In here is it's 9 o'clock now, so I'm I'm happy, excited to be part of this webinar, and thanks so much, team from all over the world. I can't mention everyone, but especially to the host, Dr. Reza, and our sister there. Thank you so much. Papua New Guinea is we call land of 1,000 tribes, different cultures. We have so many cultures, 800 language, plus different undiscovered land. It's north of Australia. We share border with Indonesia, and the place that we live is we recently got independent. We are undeveloped country. Mostly we have resources, but undeveloped countries have so many bad practice from the government, and as from my sister from the Kokoda network said, we have so many issues in terms of service delivery. But despite that, the place in Papua New Guinea is so beautiful. We have so many things to offer in tourism. Tourism is an industry that will help this poverty. At least it will give some little bit of income to the local people, so that they can benefit from it. We have different during the years during each year we have different festivals. As I've said, we have 800 language and 1,000 plus cultures, meaning like those cultures. We have so many cultures that during the show we showcase, and different, especially in different provinces, we promote different cultures, but all come together. And in terms of the local environment, I mean, we have the mountain they call the Mount William. It's the highest mountain in Papua New Guinea. It's one of those mountains where you can climb, where when you go up the top, you will never breathe, or the air is too little. So most people, they like to go there. And also the Kokoda Trek, the famous Kokoda Trek where World War II was fought. And there's so many. It's a longest trek where most of, especially our friends from Australia, they always come here every time. So it's really good to see them coming here. And other things like culture, it's yet to be explored, and we are happy that there's so many things yet to be done. I mean, so many, our cultures, most of the time from people from other countries, they thought we are from Africa, but in this country, we have so many wasted to over in culture. For me, as a what's that? In my peace area, I go do plenty of peace promotion, doing peace activities. But basically, I started this they call World Peace Festival, which I was looking at a greater things where I want to combine peace and culture together, and bring tourism inside peace and tourism. So we during this year of all sort of crisis and so many problems happening across the world, peace is the only thing that can help us. We have so many issues in all sorts of areas in terms of political issues and all sorts of economical problems. And there's war going on right here between Russia and Ukraine. But for Papua New Guinea, we would like to over ourselves doing peace, doing a festival which I'm spearheading to host, big one in 2023, with combine of our tourism authority and other sectors. And I would like to invite, as for us to promote Papua New Guinea, I would like to see festival as one point where you can come here, enjoy the festival and enjoy the tourism part of it. So as I've said, most of the speakers of the tourism, they should have spoken in the tourism area, but it's okay. I can, tourism is most of the Papua New Guineans, if you would like to know about Papua New Guinea, you can go online on YouTube, Facebook. There's so many things to see from there. That's why I mean, for me and my team, we have started they call Peace Festival, which will be on end of next month. We are hosting that different activities like prayer and the children choir and culture, live band, peace songs. We are doing great to put on, so which will be online streaming. So if you have time, you can also watch that on. So I'm really grateful, happy, see you all from different sectors. Mostly the topic is about Papua New Guinea tourism. So Papua New Guinea, as I've said, is a country where we need people from outside to come visit us. We have so many landscapes, big river fall, waterfalls, and mountains, skiing, and in the seas we can offer so many things. So I can't stress all of that. And as I've said, like you can go online, or you can go on Facebook or YouTube. There's so many things. It's there on the online. So the most information you.
Oh, I wonder if the internet has cut out.
Yeah, go out, but now Joel is trying to come in from the. Okay, I see him here. They have really bad connections, and the other gentleman, Jesse, is gone too. The partner of Deborah, I don't see him here. So, Joel, are you here? Can you start speaking?
Hello.
Yes, hello, Joel.
Welcome, Joel.
Oh, hey, hi. Apologies, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, can you say something about yourself, or B, maybe you can present?
Yes, Joel is the Senior Marketing Officer of Papua New Guinea. And how is your day today over there? I hear that there's an election going on.
It's the election fever in Papua New Guinea at the moment. So yes, today has been okay. It's a Sunday here, so it's a bit quiet here in the country. Hopefully on a weekday we will start getting all busy again with the election campaigns and so forth. But I'd like to say thank you for allowing me some time to speak on behalf of Papua New Guinea Tourism Promotion Authority. Before I can try and share my presentation, just introduce myself again. My name is Joel K. Melo, Senior Marketing Officer for Papua New Guinea Tourism Promotion Authority. I've been in the industry for almost 13 to 14 years and still growing, still trying to learn. So,
We've lost your audio.
Hello.
Oh, you're back.
Okay.
You can speak now.
We're all muted.
And to share my presentation.
Okay. Share screen.
Share screen. You can all see?
Yes.
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 Okay. Without further ado, let me start. Basically, the presentation topic that I'm going to be discussing on is COVID-19 challenges for PNG tourism industry. Probably the theme of the week, I would say, of this is travel locally and make a difference. This is basically what we're trying to do in post-COVID. So basically, government intervention and response, our strategic direction for tourism going forward. So the outline presentation is basically, I believe each and every one of our past presenters have shared the impact of COVID-19 on the global tourism industry. So maybe I can just go forward, maybe on talking a bit about the impact of COVID-19 on Papua New Guinea tourism industry, and also re-looking at our tourism sector development from 2020 onwards to 2026, how COVID has aligned us to rethink our tourism policies and tourism marketing strategies, and some of the approaches that we are doing as the National Tourism Office. So yes, before 2019, the world was like this. Agree? we, you know, so we could travel easily, freely, visiting without any restrictions. But come 2019, 2020 and onwards, we see the impact of COVID-19 that has had on our travel and tourism industry. So what has that done for Papua New Guinea Tourism Promotion Authority or Papua New Guinea tourism industry as a whole? Since 2020, during the start of COVID-19, prior to that in 2019, we averaged an annual international arrival of almost around 200,000 visitors. However, at the end of 2020, the numbers dropped almost by 70 to 80% of that. So largely, most of the international arrivals into Papua New Guinea just stopped coming into Papua New Guinea. And that also affected the little tourism market that we have in terms of our primary source markets from Australia, New Zealand, North America, Asia, Japan, China travelers, and the European travelers, so which affected most of our tourism industry. So here is just a bar graph of how we foresee things going on from then. So in 2021, we have seen little change, and hopefully this year, 2022 and onwards, as more and more countries are opening their borders again, as more and more countries are doing less restrictions on their travel measures, this is what we hope and forecast to see in the coming years for PNG. So basically, the global pandemic has also allowed us to think differently in terms of our tourism policies. We were in the process of relooking our National Tourism Master Plan, which is now called the Tourism Sector Development Plan, which was launched recently for the tourism direction in Papua New Guinea. So the vision of the Tourism Sector Development Plan is to revive and grow an inclusive and sustainable tourism in Papua New Guinea. Our mission is to harness and develop the full potential of tourism in Papua New Guinea to make Papua New Guinea a tourism lead contributor to a national sustainable economy and natural preserve Papua New Guinea's history, living cultures, and natural environment for future generations. Our long-term goals under the tourism sector development plan is 1, to increase the overall economic value of tourism to the Papua New Guinean economy, and 2, for Papua New Guinea to be the lead destination in the Pacific region, recognized for offering a range of niche destination tourism experience. Under the tourism sector development, these are our 7 key primary goals in going forward post-COVID. One of the key primary goals, which is still our major one, is hopefully in the future, increasing international numbers to Papua New Guinea. And surprisingly, we anticipated 2023 and 2024 for international visitors coming to Papua New Guinea. However, in the last few months, we have seen our very own first few visitors coming in Papua New Guinea, visiting and experiencing our tourism products. So which we are very happy in seeing a slow number of tourism visitors coming in. And also increase domestic visitor numbers to provinces. That is one of our key primary goals. Strengthen or improve the management, financial, and operational capacity of PNG tourism suppliers and operators. Improve the quality and diversity of tourism products and services. Strengthen tourism regulations and standards. Strengthen key tourism enablers within the community, within the economy, and strengthen tourism leadership synergy coordination among all sector stakeholders. So this is the role of the tourism sector development, which I believe we all know that this is more of our national tourism strategy that really guides us. So it helps provides a comprehensive, unified national directive for developing tourism, to provide a clear set of tourism development goals and the strategies for achieving them, provide a clear and concise direction to all stakeholders in the quest to develop tourism, unify, harmonize, and link different national, provincial, and local efforts to common aspirations for developing PNG tourism, be the key platform for synergizing action and for building a broad national coalition for developing PNG tourism, and be used as a framework to coordinate, monitor, implement measures of tourism development, and for improving such measures as and when necessary. So our recovery approaches for Papua New Guinea tourism going forward, basically, we are focusing on the domestic tourism campaign. This is more so going into marketing side, how we want to position ourselves in the domestic and international market. We also want to do a safe traveler campaign. At the same time, we will continue to review our tourism policy and legislative frameworks, and exploring new opportunities to assist industry to recover and be resilient under the tourism sector development plan. So therefore, our marketing focus for this year and going onwards with the four key strategies: 1, domestic tourism; 2, internet marketing; 3, product diversification and enhancement; 4, increasing partnership with existing major companies or partners. Just to share a little bit on product diversification and enhancement, COVID, I would say from my own personal experience, it has been a blessing in disguise for Papua New Guinea, saying that it has helped us to relook at our existing primary products, and also it has helped us to review and understand how better to make our products more marketable, and make our products more real to the real experience that we want our visitors to come. So I believe COVID has really helped us a lot in that way, although it has also affected us as well. So this is mainly because we wanted to focus on domestic tourism going forward. Back then, when we thought of in 2020, where the negative side is the international borders were just closed, while the positive side, the domestic borders within Papua New Guinea were still open for us and are still open. Therefore, we wanted to change our focus in embracing our domestic tourism. So these are some of the key areas where we get the support of domestic tourism, basically from the international institutions. We have a UNWTO and SPTO. In terms of domestic, our government of Papua New Guinea, our airlines, tour operators, hoteliers, and media outlets. And our approach, sorry about the, if there's any typing error, I can see. And our approach for the domestic tourism is basically in the international market is more to do with global rebranding, where we have a campaign that we want to implement, which is called Reach for the Remote, and also get a lot of international media visits in the coming years, so that we can get more PR out, create more positive vibes or more positive news for Papua New Guinea, for our very hungry travelers in and around the world, while we focus on the domestic market. It is a market that we really haven't focused, we really haven't thought of in the past few years. So therefore, we are looking at subsidizing a packaging travel, even subsidizing some of the packages, and also going into events and festivals where that will encourage local people to travel from place to place to experience our very own cultures and our very own festivals. So some of the key messages here, or the theme of our domestic campaign, as I mentioned earlier, is Reach for the Remote, which initially planned to launch in February, but we are looking at targeting mid this year as well. Hopefully by July we should get everything up and rolling. So we've been slow in doing it at the moment. So as you can see, the domestic market, the target audience is more so within our borders, Papua New Guinea only. We have a high number of expatriates living in and around Papua New Guinea, and we have a high number of business travelers who have come to Papua New Guinea, and COVID has not allowed them to travel back to their places. So these are people that are there still in PNG that we want to target as well. So the key messages and offers would be Reach for the Remote. Of course, this would be our primary offer. And then we will create a more user-generated competition, creating 60-second video shared on social media, and also offer promotional discount packages. So these are our key partners that we want to engage: accommodation industry in Papua New Guinea, the airline sector and the business houses, diplomatic missions, schools, and media outlets to carry out our campaign messages as well. And these are our key strategies. As mentioned earlier, we want to subsidize travel. Basically, there's a program that we have gone in partnership with one of our local airline companies in creating domestic packages, just to encourage our target audience to start traveling for short stays in one of the beautiful provinces up in the mountains, or up in the highlands region, or up in the coastal areas. So these are one key areas that we have focused our domestic campaign. So yeah, this is what we want to do: Reach for the Remote, travel and make a difference for Papua New Guinea. So one of the key things that I mentioned is Safe Traveler PNG. This is very important. One of the campaign that we want to run out The Safe Traveler PNG concept has been approved and has been given the green light by the government of Papua New Guinea, the Department of Health, and under the State of Emergency Controller's Office that complements our what we call our new passing, new ways of traveling in Papua New Guinea, where we must observe, and these are our basic. You must wear your mask. You must sanitize 1.5. So this is the campaign that we have rolled out in most of our industry stakeholders and our members. So what is just in short presentation, I will talk about what is the PNG Safe Traveler, how can our local industry people join and all that and participate. Basically, the Safe Traveler PNG initiative was developed in 2020 following the onset of COVID-19 and the closing of international borders. Culmination of the nuclear passing and global best practices, safe tourism protocols that ensure health and safety standards specific to the tourism industry of Papua New Guinea. Ensure a level of safety and awareness in the tourism industry of Papua New Guinea. Consumer confidence in the new normal. The guidelines aim to protect the traveler, the business, the workforce, and the host communities. Stamp of certification for tourists to recognize tourism destinations and business operators that have opted health and safety protocols in their operations. The guidelines are subject to change pending directives from our SOE Controller's Office or the Department of Health. So this is our certified program for all our tour operators or guest house owners, hotels or lodges that we want to certify under, that tells our international visitors or domestic visitors that these are establishments that also adhere to our new passing or our safe traveler measures that also complements the new way of traveling. And I believe it can also give confidence to our international travelers when they come into Papua New Guinea, that our establishment, our operators are also are prepared and are ready to accept and host guests because we have our safe travel campaign.
Joel Chiamello, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I love your tagline, reach for the remote. It's so clever in so many different ways.
Thank you.
For example, if one wants a more unique experience, or then I just imagine a little remote, clicking now, now we're going to beaches, click, now we're going to restaurants, now we're going to a cultural village. It's just brilliant. So thank you for those remarks, very, very much. And now I believe that Daniel Wakra is available to speak to us now. And he is the Director of Natural Touring in Papua New Guinea. So let's give the floor now to Daniel Wakra.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad this is my second time in life to speak on webinar. To introduce myself, I'm Daniel Wakra from Mount Hagen in Papua New Guinea, and I'm a tour operator. I specialize in bird watching tours. I do birding all throughout the country, and Indonesia, the West Papua, Solomon Island, and the Bismarck Sea. So I plan trips and guide bird watchers myself. So, well, about the oversight, tourism oversight, my colleague has been there already, and I'm just an operator. So what I do is we have, the birds of paradise are a beautiful birds of paradise. Those are only to be found in New Guinea. And we have 38 different species, the birds of paradise can only be found in Papua New Guinea. And those, they display and they attracted my life. And I was doing this following them up for many, many years. It's now my 30th year guiding and planning all the bird trips around the country. And people who come from all over the world, in all of Europe, USA, Canada, Japan, China is now involving with photographing things. They like photograph, but not bird watching. But Australia, New Zealand, of course, they are neighbors here. They make their way here most of the time. So about the countries, sometimes loggings take place, minings. There are mines, big companies that do the mine here, the loggings, about the tourism and sustainability, about the environment, is not that up to the, way you expected. Its main thing is always here in the country. So I am the only person seems to be moving into very remote parts of the country and talking about this, mining things and about cutting the timbers and all this. I discourage people not to allow those people to come and do this, because I could see there are a lot of birds, very endemic species, and the entire environment. Papua New Guinea is the second largest island in the world, and we are almost lose all the timbers here. So I discourage people not to allow this, but to accept the bird watchers. And, I use my own ways to encourage them to live in a sustainable life. So I take people from all over the world, but not through source of government funding whatsoever, but I do it of my own with my clients, whatever that they pay through. I just spend it on those people with logistics, and the infrastructure is not in place in this country. Most of the time, I sometimes walk into most of the remote areas to tell the people about, I've got a group coming, so you have to be aware of. And then I have to come back to town and I take them there. It's quite a hard work here, but tourism in general, tourism is Papua New Guinea's real paradise. There's no way in the world you can compare with Papua New Guinea. I experienced it myself. I've been to outside the world. I know what it's like up there. And about my country is fantastic. Everything is back to Genesis. It's untouching world here. So I really would like to, encourage people out there to come and experience themselves here. But it's the government has to do on the other hand. And like myself and the other operators that are in the country, we have to work together to get this on. And then you guys there now, I think it's a privilege for all of us to work together like this to make more awareness about Papua New Guinea. Sometimes people talk about negative things about the country. I think it's about the politics. It's not that the negative things in this part of the world, like they talk about troubles, like wars or whatever, tribal wars. Well, it has to do with their own tribe, and they identified people, not to any other ordinary people. So publicity about negative about my country, Papua New Guinea, I think it's not that much. What is people hear about is not in here, in Papua New Guinea. Very good, polite people, very kind people. We have some, people who are really open arms to welcome the foreigners. They would like to serve them. They would like to show them without a price. They want to give them the direction without a price. They want to spend their time with them without a price. They're very lovely people here in this country. So general about tourism, I think we should do more about, even Australia could help us as our neighbor, New Zealand could help us, and the world could help us. If your outside world has some problems, then I think Papua New Guinea is the paradise you have to come and enjoy here. So I won't take much time, but I would speak on behalf of my country and the tourism industry here. I would say it's beautiful here. I do bird watching things. Whoever is interested in doing bird watching things and bird photography or bird filming, I'm here. I'm here to assist and to help and plan and show you the mighty things here. That's, I think, I can end up here now. Thank you for your time, and thank you everyone for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. B, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I was just saying, Daniel, thank you so much for speaking with us. It sounds like some of the best attractions of Papua New Guinea are the natural ones, as well as the cultural ones. And actually, we're going to invite Deborah Campanera back to the floor because she and Jesse really didn't get the time. I don't think Jesse's available yet, but I wonder, Deborah, if you could expound on the Kokoda track and the work that you're doing there a little more.
Oh, sure, B. Thank you. Yeah, I've sent Jesse a couple messages and he's not responding, so I'm not sure what's going on. If the whole internet's cut out where he is. Anyways, I started to say that I was there in 2017 with my husband, and did the Kokoda track, and it was definitely challenging, and came back quite moved and unable to get the visions of the poverty and just the hopelessness in the eyes of the mums in the villages that we visited. And that was really something that stuck with me. And so anyway, I'll just fast forward through all that, how it came to be. But in 2018, I started working with Jesse. And while we haven't actually met in person, I mean, we have been very robust in our communications. We've established Indigenous Kokoda Adventures, which is basically the first wholly Indigenous, locally owned, led and operated tour operator on the Kokoda track. And for much of the previous time, all the tour operators have been foreign owned. And so there's that problem of tourism leakage with, you know, the money not staying in the country and not really staying local. And what we like to think we do is we offer a more direct, authentic experience. The porters and guides would work directly with us. We're not a contractor. We are a tour operator. And so we, part of our mission is we have a few things that we like to focus on. And the first one is to provide a better employment experience for our guides and porters. We pay them a competitive wage. We offer medical and health insurance because being a porter and guide is extremely difficult physical work and people can't do it forever and they get injured. And, you know, we offer bank account setup. You know, many of the porters and guides don't have access to bank accounts and don't understand the process of how all that works. So those are a few things that we are helping with. And the other thing is we like to think that we are able to tell the story of the Kokoda track in the local voice. You know, and I alluded to this in the video that I provided earlier. And you know, if you go to Paris, you're not going to want a guide that's not from Paris. I mean, you want to know all the sweet spots in Paris that you want to go to, the restaurants, the clubs, the little places that the locals visit. You want to stay off the touristy. I mean, obviously some of the things you want to see, but you know, you do want to see the real authentic Paris. And so that is something that we feel we can offer, being a direct tour operator as opposed to a foreign one. The local voice is so critical. And these are people's homes that the tracks go through. And so we feel it's important for the local people to have a voice in what happens on the track as well. I mean, these are their homes and they should have some sort of ability to take part in any decision making that happens and have some input, because they are the ones that are most impacted by tourism there. And right now there really is nothing as far as you know, when you go, there's no electricity, there's no clean running water, there's no sanitary infrastructure, medical facilities are few and far between. Kids are only educated up to grade 8. If parents need to, if they want to educate their kids beyond that, they need to pay to have them go live in the city, and then they're paying for them to live, and they have school fees, and you have multiple school-age children, it becomes very problematic, and especially, you know, not usually it's the boys that get educated and not the girls, so then the cycle of poverty just continues to exist. So one of the things that we are doing is we've established a foundation, the IKA Foundation, and what we do is by way of scholarship is we try to assist kids with their post-grade 8 education. And so it is you know, it needs to be funded, and tourism's kind of a sporadic thing right now, given the pandemic. But we are working with local coffee farmers in the Kokoda region. And so we are now selling IKA branded coffee with the net proceeds going to our foundation. And we were able to fund one child, you know, prior to the pandemic, and really hoping that everything kind of picks up again. And, you know, I got, like it was alluded to earlier, yeah, 2022 is probably not going to be huge internationally, but we are very hopeful that come 2023, things will really pick up and people will be more comfortable with traveling and crossing borders and whatnot. So that's what we're doing in a nutshell. You know, we believe in local, you know, local, supporting local is one of the best ways to start things from the grassroots, a grassroots basis. And we just feel that being the local operator is probably a better option for people who really want the real story and a more authentic look at what we're doing.
I love it. Indigenous Kokoda Adventures sounds like a perfect way to really get a good idea of what Papua New Guinea is all about. So thanks very, very much. You know, I had a question that came to me in the chat that I wonder if someone from Papua New Guinea would be able to address, and that was the passenger cruise ship issue. What about that?
Yeah.
Is that coming back? Is that growing? Is there anyone that can address that?
Yes, I think I can address that.
Great. Daniel. Is it coming back? Is it, I know that was one of the ones with the pandemic that was the most threatened.
Yes, the cruise industry that I most of the time that normally handle to organize their tours, excursions in all the shows around Papua New Guinea, most times. So, well, in the last 5 or 6 years, we had increased numbers of cruises that called into our country. And then due to a pandemic, it's zero. It's zero now. So I don't know when we are hoping for this. I could see the cruise liners, they're scheduled to the country, but I think the last time there's another one canceled on February 19th. And Yeah, cruises is, I think the Tourism Promotion Authority and the government, they have to do something when they're going to open up to take them in, or the cruise liners when they wanted to travel. We're waiting for that. But in the meantime, there's no calls yet since the pandemic. That's all about, I know.
Okay, well, that's an answer. So, and I think that brings us to the end of our webinar, our spotlight on Papua New Guinea. Before we end, I wonder, Dr. Talib Rifai, if you might have a few words to say.
Dr. Rifai had to leave. He's actually left a little bit earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. So then that pretty much concludes our webinar. And I have so many thanks, of course, all of the speakers. And once again, keep in mind that on tourismwebinar.com, you can find their contact information. Everybody who has spoken, you can go and find their email address and ways to contact them if you've got some further questions. So thank you so much for that.
Bea, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I think you don't see that there are some hands up here who want to, so for example, Joel from the Papua New Guinea Tourism Authority want to speak, and I think you don't see it on your screen.
I guess I do see it now. I see your hand up.
Yes, my hand was up, but also from Joel, so maybe take him first.
Okay. Joel, did you have some questions or comments?
Or maybe just he has gone the second. This can be, of course.
I don't see any other hands.
Yeah, Joy, because you have cut him. He wanted to say something before he stopped. So you stopped him, and you did not realize this. So this is, sometimes I realize that the moderators of this Zoom conferences do not have the full screen, and this is maybe a technical issue, I guess. And
well, actually, he was just chatting with me and he left. Actually, he didn't have any question, and they have a serious problem with the internet, so it took him an hour to get in, so he didn't have any question. Also, I want to really thank B Broda for waking up, because she's in Toronto now and she had to wake up 4:30 in the morning to preparing and to doing this. Thank you so much for this. And Mario Hardy, he had a birthday yesterday. Mario, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mario.
Oh, happy birthday, Mario.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Getting younger.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. Everybody
so much.
Here. We have also people from the World Bank, from the USA and the United Nations Development. Also they here. Thank you so much for joining, and we hope that you will help. And Papua New Guinea need lots of help, especially infrastructure. In fact, it's good that we see with the internet and other issues. So they really need lots of help, whatever they can get. I don't know if there are any other questions.
Yes, there are 4 people now, the hand up.
Okay, I leave on B to arrange that.
Okay, so at the moment we have a question from Omar Nawaz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Just to give you my background, I worked for the UNWTO during the time of Dr. Talib Rifai, and I had the opportunity of going to Papua New Guinea and doing a report. This was over a decade back. And I just heard, when I was there, I was told that there was a master plan that was to be terminated maybe about a year or 2 after my visit. But I just heard that their new plan is coming out very soon. So I don't know what happened in the interim period. But during the time I went there, I found it a wonderful place and one of the best countries in the world for special interest tours. Strangely, the flight that I took to go into Port Moresby was 90% full of Russians who had come there for deep sea diving and snorkeling. So this is another area which I think Papua New Guinea has an advantage. The other thing is, on the cruises, when I was there, I was told that there are many cruise ships coming, bringing a lot of Japanese who came there in remembrance of the people who died during the Second World War. So they came to pay homage. So this I found was very, very, something new. Other than that, then of course, bird watching, Papua New Guinea, they mentioned that there are people who are specializing in it. I also know that there's an enormous amount of orchids, and orchid enthusiasts can go there. So I think Papua New Guinea, without looking in terms of numbers, must look to yield and try to promote their special interest tours. They've got so much natural and cultural resources that very few countries can match.
It must have been wonderful to travel there. I'm hoping to do so myself one day.
Oh,
thank you.
It is really wonderful, really wonderful.
Thank you. Next to Omar, we have a Harry M with a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Omar. Now we'll hear from Harry M.
Hi guys, my name is Harry Mariklis. I work for a ship agency company. We look after 95% of the vessels that come into Papua New Guinea. Most of them originally come into Alotau, go into the Trobriand Islands and go through to Rabaul and the conflicts and back to Australia. I represent the Carnival Group, and should I say that we're ready to go, but government won't open up, and that's the biggest problem at the moment. I've been trying to contact TPA, but they won't talk to us to get government to open up. Today was the first ship in Australia that departed on a non-commercial cruise for suppliers. The vessel sailed last Thursday, come back in this morning. And should I say that the Carnival Group and the Royal Viking Group and also Royal Caribbean are starting operations as of the 1st of June in Australia and wanting destinations to PNG. I actually have two offices in Alotau, one in Alotau and one in Port Moresby. These offices have been closed due to the fact of the pandemic, and we're looking for the support of the locals. And should I say that there's no support?
Is there anyone that
Okay.
wants to address that from Papua New Guinea?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daniel?
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. About that, I think it's government has delayed this for the next 3 months or so, as from the public notice. But I have to, know from the government minister. But at the moment, everything is on the floor. And the minister's position is on the floor because they're going for an election. So probably after the election, the new government
When's that,
might
Daniel?
come up
When's
with
the
an
election
idea.
completed?
The election is going to complete in June, and August we're going to have new government.
Well, there you go. You get to start from scratch.
Yeah. So at the moment, we have no authority to talk to. Only the CEO of the Tourism Promotion Authority could have some planning.
Yeah.
Might
I
have
was talking to them, in
advice.
fact, several times, and they promised to come and things, but I don't know what happened. Anyway, working with the government is not easy.
Yeah,
everybody wants the
exactly.
cruise ship. Everyone wants the cruise ship industry to be
Yeah.
successful. So
Yeah, that's
sure
why I don't operate with them. I work by side myself with my clients because they don't work in line with me.
well, we don't.
Yeah, we operate as we work alone ourselves.
Well, Harry, I don't think anyone means to make light of it, but I think that the cruise industry is a hugely valuable one. And I'm sure it won't be too long. I think the pandemic has just slammed it. And but I certainly see it coming back, and I wish you great success with your work to get that back and going. So in the meantime, I think we have come to the end. I don't see any more new hands. So once again, thank you to all of the speakers. Once again, all of their information is on tourism.